back again, and I would really like to talk about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And first off, a big step up from Temple of Doom. This movie might be another one of my favorite movies of all time. It's very close with Raiders of the Lost Ark. But this is the third entry, released in 1989. And this is actually the first PG-13 entry into the franchise. So this movie starts off in the year 1912 in Utah, and you think that you see Indiana Jones on another of his adventures, but it turns out you get like a prelude to young Indiana Jones, because young Indiana Jones is actually part of like a Boy Scout troop, and he follows these bandits into the mountains, and they're after the Cross of Coronado, which is like a gold statue, and he wants everything in his power to get it to his dad and to the authorities and tell them that it belongs into a museum. So the opening to this movie is also very memorable, with the train chase, and we find out how Indy is actually afraid of snakes in this one, because he goes through like this train that's filled with like circus animals. Like, I mean, he sees like a lion, and that's how he gets his whip. He goes through like a rhino cage, and then he finally goes into the snake pit, which it terrifies him. And that's a pretty subtle way to describe the character's fear. And as the scene wraps up, you go back to the Jones residence, and you find that Sean Connery is Indy's dad. That'd be Henry Jones Sr. And it's a very, very fun opening to this movie. The rest of the movie is basically Raiders 2.0, but now they're after the Holy Grail. So let's talk about The Last Crusade. And Indy discovers that his dad is missing, and he tries to find out what happened to him. So he asks for the help of Sala and Marcus Brody to find him. But he first ends up in Austria, and he meets Dr. Elsa Schneider, which in my opinion is probably the most attractive indie girl. But she is a snake in this movie. I'll get into that soon, but her character is played by Alison Doody. Yeah, that's her name. And he is also on the run from I'm gonna have to like look this up because I forgot what the name of the villain is in here, but he turned out to be like a close friend to Indy's father, and you get the ultimate betrayal where Elsa Schneider is actually working with the Nazis. And she's also after the Grail. But this is a very, very good adventure film. And it rivals with Raiders of the Lost Ark. One day I might like this more. One day I might like Raiders more. They're pretty much very close with each other. But I really do enjoy this movie quite a bit. And yeah. But let's talk about how they actually find the Grail. So they have to go into like a library to find Saint Christopher or something, and he has like part of a shield that tells the location of the Grail itself. But they have to get through like rats and all sorts of grimy stuff, and it's not as gross as Temple of Doom is, but it's still pretty unsettling. But yeah, you really do believe the romance at first between Indy and Elsa, but you do suspect that she might be up to no good. And it is definitely apparent when she sides with the Nazis. But the best character behind Indy himself is his dad. And they just have the best father-son connection throughout this whole movie. And I really do wish that we could have got Indy Sr. in all 4 of these movies. Would have been a totally different franchise, but this franchise is kind of like a one-off, like James Bond in a way, because it always introduces like new characters and new villains. But Sean Connery playing Indy's father is probably one of the best supporting characters in film for me, adventure wise. I just really, really love Sean Connery in this movie. He's perfect, which makes this a perfect movie. I have nothing at all bad to say about this movie. It's a really fantastic ending, but that didn't happen. But Indy and the gang actually get to the Holy Grail, and he has to endure like 3 tests of faith. He's basically got to like avoid a blade cutting his head off. He's got to take a leap of faith, and then finally he has to choose the Grail to get eternal life. But he's got to do this quickly because the villain, again, I think it's Donovan. Yeah, I think it is Donovan. He shoots Indy's dad, and it's a fight for survival. But Indy does find the Grail and saves his dad and saves the day, leaving Donovan exploding into a skeleton. It's pretty rough, but it is awesome looking as well. And then, as the Grail almost leaves the whole temple or whatever, starts crumbling down, and Elsa is overpowered by greed. She can actually almost reach the Grail, but she just lets go, and that's the end of her. But what I find very moving in that scene is when Henry Jones Sr. says, "Indiana, let it go." And it is very, very moving, and it tells you the father-son connection, because this is the first time that the dad actually said Indiana, because throughout this movie he actually refers to him as Junior. And it's a very, very touching scene as well. And the way this movie ends, Sala, Marcus Brody, Indy, and Henry Jones Sr. ride into the sunset, and we find out how Indiana actually got his name. It's actually from the dog. And it's just a very fun ending to an otherwise perfect franchise. But perfect franchises need to continue, so I'll get into that soon. But right now, my final grade on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, I'm going to give this an A+, because this is just a very, very good adventure film. And it's one that'll probably be watched like forever. But those are my thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Hope you guys enjoyed. And my next video is going to be my Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull review. A very polarizing film, but I have some things to say about it. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in a minute. Adios. Peace.